So today's stop on our delicious journey, lemon poppy seed cookies. We've got two different kinds, gluten-free and non-gluten-free. So stick around, learn how to make them. They are going to be amazing. Okay, welcome back. Today we have some lemon poppy seed cookies. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a quick, easy recipe to put together. Then you wrap them up. They got to chill for a little while. We're going to do that overnight. You only have to go 3-4 hours. So if you want to do this in the morning and then bake the cookies later in the day, that's perfectly fine also. But we're going to do it overnight so we can just get these. I'm doing 2 batches, so I don't want to have all that time spent tomorrow waiting. So I'm going to do this today, and then tomorrow we'll do the bake, but that'll just be a couple of minutes from now for you guys. So let's run through what we've got here. One batch, this batch is going to be a gluten-free batch. And then I have another batch I'm going to do that's just regular. So I'm just going to run through the ingredients for both of those. We've got our flour. This is the gluten-free 1-to-1 mix, which is 370 grams. If you're not doing a gluten-free, it would be 300 grams of all-purpose flour. And again, as before, I will put the volume measurements in the description. I don't have them handy at the moment. So we have 192 grams of granulated sugar, 1 large egg. Then we have 1.5 tablespoons of lemon juice. This is the zest of half of a lemon. So 1 lemon will do 2 batches. This is basically half of the juice that came out of it. It calls for 1 tablespoon. So if that's all you have, you're perfectly fine. I had a little extra, so I'm going to add it in there. You don't have to do that at all. And then 1/4 cup of poppy seeds. I just measured them into this. This isn't what I measured them with. So it's 1/4 cup. And then the butter here is 170 grams. It's roughly 1.5 sticks, slightly more than 1.5 sticks. And again, I will get that actual volume measurement in the description. So basically, the first thing you want to do is you want to take your zest here, get that into your sugar. And I'm going to set you down right here so I have a free hand here. And you just want to get that into the sugar, and then you want to just work this, kind of massage it in here with the sugar. And you can see it's, I don't know if it shows on there, the color of the sugar is actually taking on a little bit of a yellow color from that oil that you're getting from the zest. And that's what you're doing here. You're just using the sugar to kind of grate into that zest and get that lemon oil to infuse into the sugar. Alternatively, you can just put the sugar and the zest in the mixer and just kind of let it go on a medium-low speed and beat these together for a little bit before you add in your butter. It's not going to be quite as effective, but you can do that as an alternative. So once you have that all done, you're ready to get out your mixer and get started on the next step here. Okay, I've got my butter. You want your butter soft, so room temperature or lightly softened in the microwave. You don't want it super soft though. You just want it just soft enough that it'll dent easily but not liquefy. So I've got that in here and the sugar with the zest in it. So we're going to go ahead and cream these together. 3 out of 6, so about a solid medium speed. You don't want to go super fast. You want to give it time to just work itself in there. Okay. So next we want to put our egg in there. Let's see, we can if I can do this with this little opening on here. Okay, now that's mostly worked in, I'm going to go ahead and add in the lemon juice. All right, now we have that mixed like that. We're going to go ahead and scrape the bowl portions here. So go for about 1/3 of that. Doesn't have to be exact. Okay. So we're just going to go until it's all the dry is gone off of the side of the bowl. And then we're just going to go ahead and dump in another 1/3, about half of what's left here. And then we'll go ahead and give it a scrape on this round here. We're going to go for the same thing. We want to watch for it to be incorporated most of the way. We want to go ahead and call it here right before we get to that point, because we still have our poppy seeds to add in there. So we'll add our poppy seeds. Go ahead and scrape the sides. Get any of the dry stuff that's still up there. On a low speed to incorporate those. Okay, now if you look, you can see they're mostly incorporated, but down in the bottom there's a big glob of poppy seeds that don't want to mix around. So what we're going to go ahead and do is at this point we're going to stop and scrape everything, and then we're just going to fold this together by hand with the spatula here. So okay, so off the mixer here you can kind of see a little better. Maybe the poppy seeds have all kind of clumped at the bottom. So we're just going to fold these, bring them up into the dough here. And I'm going to see if I can set you down and get a better view in the bowl, because holding the camera and doing it, I'm not seeing much of what I'm actually doing. So you just want to kind of concentrate on any thick areas where you see it, like right here, you got a whole pile of them. You want to kind of break those areas up. At the same time, you want to not over mix or overwork this, so don't just get in here and just like go crazy with this spatula. But see, like this right here, you've got a big thick bunch of them. Just kind of break that into smaller pieces around and then work it in a little bit. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and roll this around a little more and see. I'm not trying not to work it any more than I have to, but I just rolling it around to get a look at all the different sides. And I think that looks pretty good. This is the bowl I had the sugar in. I'm just going to go ahead and reuse that to get a measure on the total weight. So when I do half, I know if I have half. And you don't have to do this if you don't really want to. You just kind of eyeball it as long as it's pretty close. Okay, 856, so 428. So now what we want to do is pour this out onto the plastic, and we want to roll it. So work it into a round-ish shape. And what we're looking for is 8 inches long. And again, you don't have to get specific, like exact. You can just get close. But the closer you are to exact, the more consistent your cookies are going to be, because once this is chilled, it will be sliced and baked. So if these are all the same consistent size, then you'll have pretty consistent shaped cookies. I want to mark these ones so that I know which ones are the gluten-free. That's the dough. Once it's chilled, 4 hours overnight is what I'm doing. You take it out, slice it at 1/4 inch. We'll do that tomorrow, and I will record that so you get to see exactly how you do that and what they look like when they're done baking. So I'm going to go ahead and do the second batch. I don't need to show you that. It's going to be exactly the same thing. So just a different flour. So we'll come back tomorrow morning when we start baking. Okay, well, we're back. It's morning. I know it's just been a second for you, but I've got everything from yesterday's all put away. Got the oven heating up. It's 350 degrees today. Let's see where we're at. Oh, it's 325. Let's go ahead and bump that up a little bit. It's very touchy on this oven. So I've got my racks all prepared. I've got my baking sheets all lined and ready to go. This is the first log that we pulled out of the refrigerator, and as you can see, it's a lot more solid than it was yesterday. So the first step is going to be trying to roll this into a little better log. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let's see. So it's not super soft, but it is still pliable. So just push a little weight down on it and roll it. And as it's stiff like that, I don't know if you can hear that coming through on. You can kind of hear it. Thump, thump, thump. That's a flat spot. So you want to try and work out the flat spots. So we got a big flat spot here where it was sitting last night in the refrigerator because it was pretty soft when it went in there. You want to remember these ends need to be the same shape and size as the middle of the roll, and it's starting to get a little more pliable as you work it a little bit. So to avoid warming it up too much, because holding it and manipulating it, you're going to warm up the outside and you're going to start heating up the roll. So I'm going to go ahead and work this one to a nice round shape here. And then, as I was saying, once I get this to shape, I'm going to go ahead and put it back in the refrigerator and work my way through all 4 rolls. So this is a pretty simple process. It just takes a little bit of time. What you can do is put it in the refrigerator for probably like a half an hour to an hour till it starts to get somewhat stiff, and then do this step while it's still fairly soft. It'll be a little easier to get it shaped and then put it back in the refrigerator. And then you'll have a lot less shaping to do. It might still flatten on the bottom some, but if you get it at the right time, it'll be stiff enough to hold the shape and still soft enough to work into a nice tube. We are going to go ahead and get all these done, and then we'll come back after that. We got to slice these into 1/4-inch slices and get them ready to start baking. Okay, so I brought you back real quick just to show you a couple things to be aware of. One is your plastic wrap. As you do this, you want to be aware of where it is and pull it out of any crevices or cracks in here so that you're not rolling it into the dough, so that when you unwrap this to slice it, you don't pull it apart with your plastic wrap. The other is, if you're having a hard time with your ends, getting them square and the right size, what you can do once you get this to a plastic state, which just means pliable, you can work this out to where it is over your 8 inches. Remember, that's what we want this to be, 8 inches. So you get that out, and then you just take your plastic wrap and kind of fold it flat so it doesn't drive a big bump into it. And then you just tap it down on the table, and that'll push in, give you a nice flat end, and it kind of balloons out the end there. And it might take a couple of tries to get it perfectly round, and then you just take your tube and you roll it to get it flat again. Okay, so we are all done rolling out the tubes here. So now what we have is we have 4 tubes that are basically a cylinder, and it's up to you really to determine just how perfect you want your rolls. Obviously, the closer to perfect they are, the more consistent your cookies are going to be. But you could literally spend hours rolling these and not get them absolutely perfect. I've gotten pretty good here. Slight imperfections aren't going to make a huge difference. So now what we want to do is just take this onto your cutting board, and we'll go ahead and put this here just as a guide, and then kind of mark these out. So once you have your sizes, just cut down, and this is kind of what I was talking about here with the end. This one I didn't get quite perfect, but that's okay. So you can kind of shape these a little bit if you need to on the end ones. So then we'll just set these slices off to the side. And what you're looking for is 32 equal slices off of this roll. This has got a big crack in the middle from shaping it cold. So just kind of push it back together. It should come together fine once it's in the oven and baking. So what I'm going to do is slice these, and then I'm going to put them back into the refrigerator and keep them in the refrigerator. And then what I'll do is I'll just bring out enough to put on the sheets, keep the rest of them in the refrigerator and cold. That way they don't get too soft before they go in the oven, because these are a chilled cookie. You want them to be cold when they go in. If you have space, like your home refrigerator, you can put them on the sheets and put them back into the refrigerator even to help them keep cold on the cookie sheet. I don't have room for that. I have 4 cookie sheets out. I'm not sure how many I'm going to actually cycle, probably 2 or 3, maybe 4. I'll see how soft they're getting. If I have to, I can take them back off and put them back in the fridge. Okay, so we've got them all sliced up now. The gluten-free batch is what I'm doing first. So I've got all the rounds in here. I've moved everything else out of the fridge so I can have access to those easy. I thought about different ways to slice them. Use the mandolin, use the slicing machine I have, and really by the time you get any of that stuff set up and all the cleaning and everything, it's easiest to just grab a knife and slice them. You're going to have to reshape them a little bit anyway. When you cut through with the knife, it pushes it down. And I am curious to see, these both had a big split in the middle from rolling them after they were cold. I have a feeling that was the gluten-free flour, because the two that are in the other fridge now, the regular ones, rolling those, they didn't feel like they were cracking inside like that. But now we're going to go ahead and put them on the pans. I have my pans here. Now, I have 6 on a pan on the recipe, but I don't think these are really going to spread that much. I mean, they'd be tweel if they did. So I think I'm going to go ahead and try for a few more on a pan and see what I can do here, because I have a lot of these to bake, because each of these batches is a total of 64 cookies. So each of the logs is 32. So we'll see. I have a feeling that's not going to have any problem doing 8 on there. And of course, if the first one comes out and there's some sort of crazy spread that I can't see happening, we can adjust course. And I think I'm just going to start with 2 pans, because these do need to stay cold, and it's getting upwards of 70 in here with the oven on. So I'm going to go ahead and get some in the oven. These bake for 8 to 12 minutes. Probably going to start a little shy. Let's see where we're at. Oh, my oven's still at 325, so bump this up a little more and see if I can get it up to 350. And we'll go ahead and throw one in, and we'll start at, probably go ahead and check it at 4 minutes and see how it's looking, and rotate it, because it does have a bit of a hot spot in this oven. So I've got it in the oven now. Got my racks, are all ready for doing this. These come out, they chill on or cool on the pan for 2 to 3 minutes, and then go on to the rack. So we'll see how it works. I may end up getting into all 4 of my pans. I did get a couple extras. So if I get to that point, that'll make it go a lot smoother, but I don't want them to get too warm on the pan. So we'll have to see and play that by ear. Otherwise, we'll take a look at these when they come out of the oven. Sometimes you do get a little extra browning with lemon. So we'll see what they look like. Hopefully they're perfect. We'll see. Okay, so after 10 minutes, we've got them out. You can see they're getting, let me point the camera where I'm pointing. They get a nice little golden edge on there. They're set on the top, so they're not super brown. They're not supposed to be like dark caramelized brown, but you can see, I don't know if it's showing up on the camera, but hopefully you can see, oh, there you go. That nice golden edge along the bottom shows that they're good and cooked. So that's what we're looking for, and that took 10 minutes. My oven is finally up to 350, so I'm going to keep an eye on this next batch that's in there. Hopefully I can get the time perfect on this one also. So now it's just a matter of baking, and as you can see, as I thought, they didn't really spread at all. So I could probably even do 3 rows, maybe even 3 rows of 4, which will work nicely for getting all these done quickly, or quicker anyway. Okay, just bringing you back for a little mid-bake observation. I'm noticing a distinct difference in the color of the finished cookies here. But also, oddly, this is a good example here. You'll see these ones over here are golden on the bottom. These ones are less so. They're not baking quite as evenly. Like up here, these ones are perfect, and then got a couple that got a little darker. So I'm going to have to start rotating the pans. I actually quit rotating those ones because they were baking even. So just kind of a weird observation. Okay, so we are down to one batch of 4 that are in the oven. So my timer's going to go off here in a few minutes. I got to rotate that and set it for a few minutes longer. While these are cooling, I'm going to go ahead and make up some lemon royal icing to drizzle these with. So let's go over really quick what we've got for that. We have 454 grams of powdered sugar, 3 large egg whites, and then we have 1/3 of a cup of lemon juice. And if it looks really yellow, that's because I've added 5 drops of non-petroleum coloring in there. That's a turmeric-based food coloring. So that's what's going in there. To start with, these are going to go in and beat for about a minute or so. Okay, so now you can see it's gotten kind of frothy in there. So now we're going to go ahead and start working in the sugar and the lemon juice. So I'll just set you up over here and kind of work on that. I'm not sure how well this is going to work, but we'll see here. Not super, but it's working. Let's see if that works a little better here, because and to me that already looks way better. So I don't know, they may have good luck with the paddle, but and I'm going to go ahead and do that again, scrape it down, get it into the egg whites. And you can use pasteurized egg whites, or you can use powdered egg whites or meringue powder if you're concerned with using raw egg in here. This particular royal icing is not a huge concern because you've got the acid from the lemon juice that is going to kill anything in here as far as from the egg whites. I believe is 4 tablespoons of meringue powder or egg white powder. I'm not certain on that. That would be something that you wanted to look into if you want to use those. So I've got the rest of my lemon juice in there. And I'm going to get the last of the powdered sugar down from there. Okay, so now we want to bring this up on a medium high. I'm just going to explain before I start it because I don't know how well you can hear me over it. So we're going to bring it up to medium high. It's going to go probably about 5 minutes. So it's not super stiff. It's kind of a soft peak, but I've been going, I don't want to overbeat it because I think it may be kind of soft because of the lemon juice being more liquid than it's normally got in there. So we're going to go ahead and just go with this. If you want to make a regular royal icing, instead of the third cup of lemon juice, you would use a teaspoon of vanilla. A zipper bag here with a piping tip on it. And I'm just going to trying to decide how to get this in here the best way possible. Okay. Use this to get me started here. And then I'm just going to drizzle my icing onto the cookies. This is the gluten-free batch. So I'll just show you on this one kind of what we're doing. And to differentiate between the two, I'm going to do a swirl curly Q drizzle line on these. And then the other batch, I'm going to just do a straight drizzle. We'll see how well this works. I may have wanted to go up one size on this tip. Yep, I think I would have been better. Let me see if I can do that, because yeah, that's a little better. So I'm just kind of doing nothing like super fancy or trying to be super neat or anything. I'm just doing a kind of swirly drizzle, and I'm going to do a couple of lines over each row here. You can see they're not really super neat or anything, but they're just kind of curly so that they'll be different than the ordinary non-gluten-free ones. Okay. This is kind of all I had in mind for these. That's why I'm not like trying for a super neat swirl on those. I just want them to look different than these. Okay, so I've got all the icing on. Just want to give you a kind of a overview of what we've got. This is what I was talking about, why that wasn't super important doing the swirls. I wanted to come back and do lines, but I didn't want these lines that are angled to not have something in the background. But then I decided to go ahead and come back and do some more on these ones, so I just went the other way. So now we've got crosshatch on the non-gluten free, and we have swirly lines with angled drizzle on the gluten-free ones. Okay, so I've got the cookies in front of a fan and it's just drying out the icing. But I grabbed a few of them here and I just want to kind of see how the texture is between the two. So what we've got is, sorry about the hand there. We've got the gluten-free on this side and the regular ones here, and I've kind of picked the least attractive of the batch to break apart and try, because no sense picking the best looking ones to do that with. So one thing I did notice on the gluten-free, when I was trying to roll that log of dough into shape, it split in the middle, and each slice I kind of had to work it back together. But But then at the same time, the non-gluten free, for whatever reason, they didn't bake as evenly. So I had to go back to rotating the pans on those ones, and they didn't roll quite as even and smooth. I mean, like I said, these are the least attractive of all of them, but you can kind of see these ones are all basically the same shape. And then here you have like an oval. This one's kind of oblong and really thinned out and got really dark compared to some of the other ones. That was a bad example, like these. Whereas these ones, without rotating or anything, they all cooked pretty evenly. A couple of them are a little pale, but for the most part, they're all the same. I'm not sure what that is. I mean, as far as I know, there's no real connection between gluten formation and baking characteristics. But there is a difference with texture. So that's kind of what I want to look at here. So we've got two that are basically the same. We'll just kind of put these ones off to the side here. Bring you down a little lower if I can here. And pardon the hand again. So we got these two, and they're basically the same size. They're the same thickness. So I just kind of want to break these and see if I can get up here by the mic and see if I can hear any kind of, no, not really, just a soft puff as it broke apart. Let's see, try this one. About the same. So it's not, neither one of them are really like hard, crispy crunch like you would get out of, say, a cracker. So now let's just take a look. I'm really not sure what the difference is and why these ones are a different color. The flowers are the same color. The only thing I can think of is I did run out of the butter I used in this and went to a different brand, which was a little more yellow. That may be where this difference in color is coming from. There's no immediate difference that I can see in texture. Neither of them is like dry and crumbly compared to the other. They're about the same kind of crumb. So let's give them a try. Nice, pleasant texture. Got a good flavor. Lots of poppy seeds. I don't know if I can get that in the picture without... Yeah, there's lots of poppy seeds in here. So let's compare. Well, both are amazing. I mean, they taste the same. Everything is the same in here. The only difference is the gluten-free flour, and that's a 1-to-1, which by weight is not 1-to-1. By volume is 1-to-1, and it's adjusted for that. So what we have is the non-gluten-free is a little bit stiffer, little different chew, but both are good. If you make this one with the 1-to-1 and you don't tell somebody that it's gluten-free, they're not going to eat it and go, oh my God, that is gluten-free. Why did you give me that? Really, the only reason I can tell that there is a difference is because I'm looking for that difference. I hope you'll give these a try. They are very good. You don't have to ice them. I did it because I just wanted to try it. So leaving that off would save you a lot of time also. You can also make frosting and frost them. Lemon frosting would be good on them, or play with it a little. Blueberries on here would be good, like a blueberry compote. You can even make sandwich cookies with them. Put a little blueberry compote and make sandwiches. Have fun with it. Try them. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you'll give these a try, and I hope you like them as much as I do. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time.